In the rural and urban Sub-Saharan Africa, a drama is playing out. The people is firmly in the grip of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. Burials, people terminally ill, children losing their parents, income decreasing as people in the most productive years fall ill. TCE has started as a comprehensive effort in the fight against HIV and AIDS in Sub-Saharan Africa. TCE stands for Total Control of the Epidemic. The program is created and developed by the international development organization Humana People to People. TCE is based on the philosophy that only people themselves can take control of the spread of HIV and AIDS and deal with the consequences of the disease. TCE is based on the systematic organization of each country, dividing them into geographical areas of 100,000 people. Each area is again subdivided into 50 fields with approximately 2,000 people. In each field, Humana People to People employs a TCE field officer. Thus, the TCE field officer is in charge of the 2,000 people. The field officer seeks out and informs every member of the community in his field and mobilizes all people in an all-out war against HIV and AIDS. The first TCE area was launched in the area of Bindura in Zimbabwe in February 2000. Since then, TCE has rapidly developed and expanded with solid support from the governments involved. Today, the TCE program takes place in 8 areas in Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Botswana, covering 800,000 people. And many more areas are sure to follow in the near future. The TCE field officer has the task to seek out all the people in his field, speak to them about HIV and AIDS, how they can avoid getting infected, or how they can live a healthy and good life if infected.
If you want to have control of the epidemic, it has to be interpersonal communication. It is one-to-one communication where a TCE officer has to knock on doors, talk to families, talk to the individual member of the family on how one can change his or her behavior, sexual behavior.
The TCE publications are tools to inform and mobilize people. They tell in simple words and local language about the virus and about AIDS and subjects connected to the disease. As close collaborators to the TCE field officers, you'll find the Passionates. The Passionates are organized in the Passion for People movement. They are warm-hearted people who volunteer to participate in multiple efforts to fight the epidemic, backing up the TCE field officers and showing genuine passion for the people.
I have to be passionate. That is why I'm writing poems about it. I want to counsel other people because this is dangerous. AIDS is a killer.
If you have got a patient of the same as my wife, you got to look after her. You got to make sure that you love her. The TCE field officers, it's very important to me because they taught me that no, you mustn't run away from a person who is sick. Because it is hard to tell people, to convince people from what they believe. So that's what I can see to the rest of the world.
The TCE field officers, together with the Passionates, mobilize people to be tested to know their HIV status. They instigate and run community clubs in the fight against AIDS, and they also teach the community how to take care of the sick people, a profoundly humanizing effort that goes a long way towards making people understand that they themselves can take the situation in their own hands and take control of it. The TCE field officers also supports the Passionates in starting income-generating projects and grow nutritious food for the sick and for the many AIDS orphans. Starting orphan programs and soya restaurants in each field is also on the agenda of the field officers. The TCE field officers are trained throughout the 3 years of work in their field. Their work is described in instructive manuals. Each Friday, the 50 field officers in the area meet for training and inspiration. And the field officers are educated as counselors with a diploma.
When you know your status, I'm also preventing you.
De todos, devia ser de acolher os oficiais do TCE, escutar os conselhos que vão nos dar a partir de agora em diante, para podermos mudar de comportamento. Quer dizer, a questão está na mudança do comportamento.
I would like to tell everyone out there to join hands to fight this epidemic that is killing our families, brothers and sisters. So I would like to invite the young and the old, the president of all countries, the nurses, teachers, lecturers, doctors, to join hands to fight this epidemic.
The governments of Southern Africa acknowledge the need for cooperation in the battle against AIDS.
The approach that Humana People has matches very much with what we already had as experience in freeing ourselves from the scourge of colonialism and apartheid.
Esta é a primeira experiência que vai numa determinada área e toca todas as famílias e toca todas as pessoas de diferentes idades.
And we need all the assistance we can get. And it requires that we mobilize the whole nation. And therefore, we needed the assistance of people like you. Humana People to People, you are experts in community mobilization. That's what we were looking for. We gratefully accepted your offer to assist us in mobilizing the community. We realized that it requires the mobilization of our nations as a whole. That's why total control of the epidemic is called for in all countries of the region. That's the way to achieve total control in the region as a whole.
TCE, the Humana People to People program, is really holding the key. That is why we feel it is one of the most critical programs that any country that is suffering under the epidemic should have in place.
The TCE program has proved to be effective and to relieve the tense atmosphere in societies under dire pressure from the onslaught of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. TCE has been well received by the population in the community. It has shown to have a profoundly humanizing effect in the face of the epidemic. And we are now starting to see how more and more people in the community, governments of Africa and international institutions are joining hands and acting in the common direction of achieving TCE, total control of the epidemic.
Zimbabwe.